It's hard to believe, but we've made it to the final episode of Season 1 of the Midlife Mud. In this one, we sit down to reflect on everything this past year has taught us about burnout, boundaries, aging, friendship, and what it really means to redefine success in midlife. We're taking a little hiatus, but don't worry, we'll be back. For now, hit play and join us for one last honest, messy, and meaningful conversation to close out the season.
Hey, I'm Morgan.
I'm Chris. Welcome to the Midlife Mud,
where we promise to bring the real shit, all the grit, and pretty much zero clue about how to deal with this crazy phase of life.
And by the way, because this is all about feeling less alone, what we want most is to connect with you.
Absolutely. So take a few seconds and visit themidlifemud.com and join our community.
And you'll stay up to date on all the dirt.
And even better, become a part of the conversation.
We can't wait to see you there. All right. Tighten those boots and let's get muddy. Well, here we are.
We have been doing this podcast nearly a year.
1 year, 26 episodes.
Yeah. And so we've talked about a lot of different things pertaining to midlife and just life in general. And we thought it would be a good time, especially since we plan to step away for a little bit, take a little bit of a hiatus so that we can come back even bigger and better in the future. We thought it'd be a good time to sit down and talk about some of the core principles that have come out, things that maybe would be useful for people who are in the thick of it right now or who are getting ready to embark into midlife. What are some things that would be useful for them to know?
So we're pulling from the conversations that we've had over the course of the year to compile this list. And, I'm curious before we get started with the list, why did you want to do this podcast?
And I still do, I need an outlet and I need a chance to sit down and reflect on this experience of being in midlife. I think for a long time, as someone younger, there was a little bit of ambivalence about midlife. You hear about midlife crisis and, oh God, it can seem really scary.
Yeah.
And it's like I woke up one day and realized that I'm here.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have honest, real conversations and create the space to be able to reflect and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's helped me. It's been a healing in a way. What about you?
Well, I've been in this intersection of my life where for a long time I was showing up trying to achieve all of these goals that were really preconceived notions of who I wanted to be when I grew up. And so a couple of things happened. One thing is I realized that I'm grown up and I'm aging and that life is finite, for as heavy as that sounds, that there can be something that's really awakening about that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of how I would describe this intersection is it really has been an awakening and a self-discovery of who I am at my core and what it means and how it feels for me to show up authentically. And this podcast has been a bridge, not the only one, but a major bridge in my being able to practice that.
Well, and I like that you say practice.
Oh, it's
practice.
An ongoing practice. And there's something else about showing up in this way that I'm really hoping and asking for others to pause and in doing that, maybe discover something about themselves and create a larger discussion. And I think you and I have talked about year one as being really powerful. And it's been a year for each of us, it sounds like, it's been about showing up. And next year, as we take this hiatus and we take some time to build the next version of this show, that's the piece that you and I keep coming back to in our discussion is how do we pull more people in? How do we have guests? How do we have more discussion? How do we have more interaction?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really excited for that next version too.
Yeah. When I say this has been really healing for me, now that I have experienced this, the motivation to invite people to do the same thing is even stronger than it was. And I think now more than ever, we collectively need this. We need the time to consider these things and to think about and reflect. And I think that's our mission
Yes.
is to invite people to do that.
That resonates for me too.
So we're going to kind of go through a little tick list here of little micronutrients all in one place from our past year of podcasting here that all pertain to midlife.
So we have this organized into 2 different areas. The first list is midlife truths that we didn't see coming.
Right. Just stuff that we now realize. And then the second segment is more about like, what are some little pieces of advice we would have for someone who is just about to embark into midlife or is early in the journey? What are some things we would have found helpful to know in advance?
Now, what I really wish for, speaking of engagement, is someone from the generation older than us to give us advice on the next
please.
30 years.
Yeah.
Like, so if anybody's out there, just reach out to us.
We're like little sponges. We will take it. So the first little micronutrient that comes to mind for me, it's really about boundaries. Just because something fits into your schedule, onto your calendar, it does not mean that it belongs in your life or that it fits there. So shifting out of the automatic yes when something comes up, because the demands in midlife are more and more and more, you can't say yes to everything, nor should you. And so this idea of protecting your energy is incredibly important.
Well, we live in the world of just being bombarded with opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I think deeper in that is this fear of missing something.
Oh, the FOMO is real.
Yeah. And so before you know it, and I've been here, you just signing up for everything and signing your kids up for everything and signing your dog up for everything. And
yeah. And then what you're really missing out on is the life that you want. So it's like protecting the energy and keeping the main thing the main thing. By the way, what is the main thing? You have to have time to know what that is for you.
Yeah. So another one, and this one really, really hits home for me, is you cannot control how you're perceived. I mean, motherfucker, I have spent so much of my life trying to control what I think other people
Everybody
will think
else
of
thinks.
me if I will do this. And how many degrees of fucking convolution is in that?
Well, and there's something really freeing about saying, if they think this about me, they think that. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Here's what I can do.
Right.
And that's it. That's all you have to put your energy into is how you show up.
Yeah.
You know, and if at the end of the day you showed up the way that you intended and that you wanted and that's in alignment with your values, then job well done.
Then
Go to
you're
sleep.
good.
Yeah. I think it's important too to point out that some things they just suck. I know sometimes you and I talk about trying to reframe things and really getting good at seeing things from a different angle and how can we grow from this? How can we take the most? But I don't want to overlook the fact that some things just suck. There's nothing to be learned. There's nothing to gain. It just sucks and that's it. It's helpful to understand that and accept that to a degree.
Yeah. There is like this suckage quota that is just going to exist.
It's just going to be met and you're going to move on.
Sometimes things that suck now just suck. And it's not till later when you look back on it that you realize that it did have a purpose.
Yeah.
And sometimes that doesn't happen either. It just sucks.
It just doesn't. Yeah. What's another one?
It's okay to outgrow the ambition that you used to have. When I was 30, the future self that I imagined is very different from the future self that I strive for today. The big difference is I'm just focused more on showing up authentically. But there was a big push and pull for a long time where I wanted to transition, like something didn't feel right, but I could not let go of the future Chris that I had fucking burned into my mind when I was in my 20s and 30s.
And I think a lot of that is about how we define success.
Yes.
What is real success? And when we're younger, we may not have the life experience or the perspective that we might need to be able to see what really is success for us.
Another word comes to mind as well, and that is fulfillment. Success was more of a buzzword for me in the past. Fulfillment is really becoming much more important. And for me, that's a very rich thing.
But make that tangible for me, because when I say the word fulfillment, that sounds really fluffy.
it will feel incomplete if I have a $100,000 car and a $3 million house. If I don't have purpose in my life, people around me that I love.
Right.
And so I know that in my world, success, it doesn't mean this as much now, but my past definitions for success very much were tethered to material shit.
Mm-hmm. The outward presentation of yourself.
Yes.
I want other people to look at me and see success. And culturally, this is what success is. Well, what if we defined it for ourselves and we didn't have to advertise it everywhere? That's a whole different thing.
And then my feeling of completeness comes from me.
Right.
And not what you think of my car.
Right. And you don't have to post it on Instagram to be validated.
In fact, I wouldn't even know how to post that on Instagram because it's not a thing. It's a feeling inside.
Another one, and I love this one, you cannot budget your way out of burnout. What do I mean by that?
Tell me more.
Oh, man. And I mean it literally and figuratively. When I think about budgeting financially, we're all feeling it with the economy changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to plan for your retirement, to pay for your kids' education, to put food on the table. There's a lot going on all at one time. And we've talked in the past about how our relationship with money can be very emotional and usually is very emotional. So there's a lot going on in this statement. Is it just about tightening your belt? Is it just about cutting corners, letting go of this subscription that you may not need this month, tracking all of your expenses? That gets to be really soul-sucking and energy draining. Financial stress is not always just about the literal coins that you have in your pocket. It can be about, what is the job that you're doing? Does that give you life? Does that give you energy? Are you passionate about it? Are you living just a general lifestyle that is within your values, or are those things totally out of alignment? There are a lot of responsibilities that we have. And so it can be exhausting to even think about or plan for the future. I think that all lends itself to this sort of scarcity mindset in general. And so all of that is depleting. So managing your money, yes, is important, but it is not going to solve the problem, the real underlying problem that's causing burnout.
For the longest time, I didn't even have a budget financially. I just lived willy-nilly. And in terms of my time and effort, I inordinately over-budgeted into a stressful work and job life under the auspice that I was investing in some future self that ironically wasn't even connected to myself enough anyway. And the message that I had for myself about that was, when I get here, I will feel less stressed. And I let that theory play out for more than a decade, and it did not prove to be true.
Right. In fact, the opposite.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's another one that hits home for me. And this is near and dear because I love to do things the hard way. In fact, I think we were trained to look for the hardest way sometimes in the way that we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no gold star for doing it the hard way. And sometimes there just is no escaping the fact that the road is hard, but it doesn't always have to be.
Yeah, we don't have to make it that way. And for me, in particular, I think this is a lot about letting go of keeping everything so precious and perfectionism. Hitting midlife when you're buried under the mud, like most people are at this point in life, that's when it really hits home. It's like, I can't afford to be a perfectionist. I don't have the time and energy to do that anymore.
And for me, it's about receiving this recognition that I can do it. Really, the underlying message there is it's about proving myself. Doing things the hard way has been about proving myself for me.
How does that prove?
It's something about having that feedback from others that says, I really didn't think you would be able to do that, and you did.
There's a little bit of bragging rights involved in doing something the hard way.
There can be, but there's also like a little bit of stupidity.
There's a lot of stupidity,
because
especially if that's not the only way.
Why, if there was a sidewalk that zigzagged up the mountain, like why would I just go straight up and almost have a heart attack?
Yeah, no gold star for doing it the hard way. I also think this is a great one. Midlife, it doesn't have to be a crisis. We don't have to look at it that way.
Mm.
It is like a mirror almost. And there can be a real gift in that. If we take the time to sit down and reflect on who we actually are and who we actually want to be, we don't have to be in crisis mode about it.
Yeah, the one way that I thought about this one or think about it is I'm the one that makes things a crisis. Situations happen. And like we've talked about, sometimes really hard situations happen. But it's my choice to make it a crisis or not. Another one that resonates with me a lot is healing doesn't mean that the past didn't happen. I've lived a very privileged, fortunate life, so I don't want to be taken a different way. But even in that, there have been some things in my life that are very emotionally hard for me. And one of the things that's been freeing is the idea that those things happened and feelings about those things come and go. And that's cool. That's okay. It's normal. It doesn't mean that they didn't happen, but it also doesn't mean that I have to live under the shadow of those things.
They have helped shape who you are, but they are not who you are.
That one's a practice.
I think it bears mentioning too that friendship, we had an episode on friendship.
I love it that you went there because that's exactly where my mind was going as well. There's so much about midlife that feels like we're out hiking on some fucking icy tundra
Alone.
by ourselves, and yet we're surrounded by all this noise and all these people, and it can be so lonely. And that's where friendship can play such a role.
It's so important, and it's not something that's going to happen by mistake or accident.
You got to invest.
You have to invest, and it feels like, fuck, I got to invest in another thing.
How am I going to do that?
So
I don't have
busy.
time, and they need this, and I have to do that, and I can't even, take care of myself, and I don't even
Right.
do this, and
But the payoff,
huge.
yeah, you got to do it. So those are the things I feel like we have learned. If we were going to talk to someone getting ready to go into midlife,
Start noticing what drains you, not what just takes time.
yeah, energy doesn't grow on trees, people.
This is not a sprint.
By the way, you're not going to have as much energy in 10 years as you do right now.
Even if you tell yourself that you're going to stay healthy and fit and eat right.
You're just not. You're just
Sorry.
not. So the hack there is get really good at recognizing what drains you and what you can let go of.
And so much of what I underplayed at that age is what is emotionally draining to me.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many things that I accepted earlier in life that were emotionally draining.
That you accepted as they have to happen. Like
I just accepted that's just going to drain me and
the way it is.
I'm going to take the drain, and because you have more to pull from, I think, so you don't maybe feel it quite as much. But I would argue that it still has a massive fucking impact to be investing time and energy into things that are just not worth it.
Yeah, I don't know why the phrase cut the fat comes into mind for me. That just like blaringly came into my mind. But getting rid of that stuff where you're just leaking. You're just leaking energy. I've been chomping at the bit to say this one, so I'm going to say it now.
Okay.
Get good at reframing your situation. Get good at it now. If you can get really good at shifting your perspective on things, your entire experience of midlife you'll be in the driver's seat of it.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is interesting. I think about this analogy of this landscape shift from being in this haunted house, just being frightened all the time versus being in a playground. We underrate how much power we have to influence which landscape we live in.
Let's talk a little bit about toxic positivity and how that could link in. What's the difference here? I am not saying, when I say get good at reframing, I'm not saying pretend like everything is sunshine and roses. I'm not saying to deny the reality, but I am saying take a different vantage point and change your mind about what it means.
Well, you can get hurt on the playground.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it can't be fun too.
Exactly.
All of those things come.
Glass half full, glass half empty. Both things are true. What are you focusing on? That would be my number one piece of advice, I think. If you can do that, you can do any of the other things that we're talking about here. Another piece of advice is your body is going to start giving you clues that you are aging, the earlier you can familiarize yourself with your body and how it feels when things are going well and how it feels when things are a little off, the better off you will be.
Well, one of the things that I am learning now is that I didn't really know how to take care of my body, how to feed myself, how to appropriately exercise, just maintaining some sort of even keel. And I would say start learning that.
Start learning it and just paying attention to, I know it's tempting when you're in your 20s and even your 30s maybe, you don't have to think about those things as much. And so you may not. The reality is, and I don't say it in a way that's ominous or to scare anyone, but you will be forced at some point to notice those things. And so the earlier you can get good at paying attention, at least, I'm not saying you got to change your lifestyle right now. I'm just saying pay attention. The earlier you can pay attention to those things, the sooner you will pick up on things that are going wrong or that you might need to micro adjust as you go instead of you have a heart attack and you have to do everything all at once, a huge overhaul.
So I'm going to funnel this into a smaller version of this lesson that I've learned, but I had to learn it the hard way, of course. And that is, you don't need to wait until your oil light goes on and the engine is overheating to change your oil.
Exactly.
It took me a long time to learn, like, oh, I should actually follow the
I should
sticker.
Proactively.
Now, in that case, it's a little bit even better because we have a sticker. We don't always have a sticker that tells us.
And that's what I'm saying. Create a sticker.
Create the sticker.
Be paying attention to the sticker that you create. This dovetails a little bit into embracing aging, having peace around that. That's hard. I'm still trying to practice that.
Part of being human is resisting death. We want to live. That is something that is ingrained in us so deeply. I'm not saying don't celebrate that. I mean, that's a wonderful thing to celebrate life. But there's something about accepting the fact that life doesn't last forever that helps me celebrate life more. But it feels really strange to embrace that. One of the things that I've been into lately is this whole idea, and it comes from the physician Peter Attia that's written a couple of really popular books and has a podcast, and he talks about training for the marginal decade, which is the last 10 years of your life, and making a list of the things that you want to be able to do. Get on the floor and play with the grandkids and go for a 20-mile hike, and whatever the list is, they don't
it's your list.
Have to be physical.
Yeah.
And then breaking it down. What do I need to be able to do?
You're training for that.
Yeah.
That's a perspective shift.
Big time.
I'm training for my last decade.
Right.
That's a different way to look at it than I want to look young all the time.
There's something about that invites me to explore versus being afraid.
Yeah, there is an inherent peace in that. And yet there's also progress.
Right.
It's not just an acceptance that, oh, I'm just going to be bedridden when I'm in my 80s.
Or I'm going to ignore that and I'm going to try to hang on to who
I'm going to inject
now.
my lips and I'm going to get a facelift and I'm going to...
Yeah.
Not that there's, I'm not judging for people who are doing those things, but underneath all of that, are you at peace with the fact that, period, end of story, we are all aging right now. Every single one of us that's breathing is aging. So how do you feel about that? Sit with it for a minute. What else? Rest is important. Don't wait to rest. Don't say I'll rest someday. That's my husband's favorite thing to say is one day, fill in the blank. It's always one day.
There's something about rest here, and there's also just some general comment. I think that it's easy to put on these magical future glasses where in the future, it'll magically feel better. We'll magically rest.
Something will magically be different.
Feel the way we want to feel. But the thing is, if I don't feel that way today, the odds are I'm not going to feel that way.
Right. What have you done differently to feel that way? If you don't know how to sit still now, what makes you think you'll know how to sit still in 20 years?
Because 20 years in the future will be now, then.
Wow, that just blew my mind. So there you go. There's a little rundown of some of the main pieces of advice or learnings that we have at this stage in the game. And mind you, we're in the middle of the middle.
In the middle of the middle. This has been fun to look back and encapsulate a lot of the things that we've talked about. I cannot believe we have so much content out now. 26 episodes.
I know.
Counting this one.
I know. And we have a big vision for what the future of this show holds. And it involves you, the listener, quite a bit. Our goal is to learn more about what you want to hear about. Ask questions of people who know some answers about things.
Wait, I'm going to use one of our lessons right now, and
Which
I'm going to
is?
reframe a little bit
Oh, here we go.
and say that this year was all about giving you guys the opportunity to get to know us. And next year is all about us getting to know you more.
And learning more. We're no experts.
No.
And so we understand that.
And now you know what we think, who we are.
Right. And it'd be great to have some actual experts who know some stuff. So we will be back in the fall of 2026. In the meantime, expect that we will be reaching out to you, asking for your input, asking for your ideas on what you want to hear more of or less of, for that matter.
And just because we're silent on the airwaves doesn't mean that we will be still. We'll be working hard to
Working furiously.
build the next version of the Midlife Mud.
So, way to go for us. First year down.
And way to go for you.
And way to go for you, because you're still slogging through the mud. And with that, we will see you in the fall of 2026.
In the mud.
In the mud.
Thanks for being with us in the mud today.
If you liked this episode, do us a huge favor and subscribe to the show. This is going to make sure you never miss an episode, and it's going to help us grow our muddy community, which would mean the world to us.
See you next time in the mud.